When your team goes and scores 130 points against the defending NBA champions, beating them for the second time this season, you're going to have a lot of good things to say. There's going to be a lot of nice statistics that we're going to talk about as the Phoenix Suns have defeated the Golden State Warriors by a final score of 130 to 119. Plenty of great things to talk about on this edition of the Suns Jam session, Matthew.
Yep.
And there's still some opportunities out there, I still feel like we're going to go down some sort of avenue talking about double deuce and the way that they kind of played like a deuce. But you know what? Suns win 9-5, 2-0 over the Golden State Warriors, are now 0-8 on the season on the road.
Yeah, Booker, wow. Like Cameron Payne, just wow. Mikal Bridges, wow. And
Tory
Steph Curry,
Craig,
wow. Tory Craig, wow. Too. A big wow game from the Suns, a big revenge game after last game. And they, it's a fun game to watch when Curry's going off when the Suns have it in the bag. Like, I just love to watch that. Any other game that would drive me nuts, but tonight it was okay. Subreddit stakeout, that's a different story though.
Oh, I can't wait.
Warriors fans are not having a good time.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, to your point, Steph Curry, I mean, he carried the team, 50, right? 50 points
50,
he had tonight?
I think he had 50, yeah.
This will be the great thing to monitor throughout the night as we are coming to you live directly following this game, not reading any articles, not hanging out on Twitter, hanging out with you, the Jamsters, right after the game. It'll be interesting to see what the headline is on ESPN, right? Because it won't be like Suns win by double digits. It'll be something like Steph Curry scores 50 points and loses. We don't want to mention that he loses, but he loses because he lost, and that's just the way that that's just the way that they do. That's just the way that they do. But
you know what? They do.
To your point, when you're watching the Warriors play, as hard as they're trying to play, and they can't execute anything outside of Steph Curry pulling off miracle shots and getting some benefits of some friendly whistles, but ultimately scoring 50 points, but we still wax them. Even though it was a late game, and it's going to be a late night, it was a fun game to watch.
Sure was. And Legend E, really quick, no Ayton wow. I'm sorry, yeah, Ayton wow.
We'll get there.
Really Ayton, at times, really wow game.
Wow upside down, Mom.
Mom, is that you?
Is that you, Ayton? So welcome everybody to another edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. For those of you who are watching, you can see we are definitely celebrating the new City Edition tribal turquoise uniforms. I think they did a fantastic job of recognizing the 22 Native American tribes in the great state of Arizona, the way that they've really embraced that as the City Edition. Because you take a look at the City Edition and what it's meant to this team. Los Suns for the first 2 or 3 seasons. I think this is the 6th year of the City Editions. The first 3 years were Los Suns, recognizing and paying homage to the Hispanic community, which is prevalent in Arizona. The Valley for the next 2 years to really kind of represent who we are. And what we referenced this area, the Valley of the Sun. And then this year they've decided to go with the tribal 22 Native American tribes and pay homage to that. And I think they did a fantastic job. Really kind of grew on me. We'll talk obviously as a part of this podcast about what we thought of those uniforms actually being out there on the court, because that's what Matthew and I do. But thank you, everybody who's joined us live after this game. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. If you're listening, subscribe. If you're on Spotify, hit the little subscribe button and just hang out with us. We're live after every game. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Darth Void and read my writing on brightsideofthesun.com. You can follow Matthew
at Matthew Lissy.
Of course, you can follow the show at Suns Jam on all major social media platforms. Matthew, I know you're popping open a nice cold beer to start this one.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't help it. I know I'm having a turquoise ale. It's actually made with sand from the Sonoran Desert, so I'm really interested to see how gritty this one's going to be going down. Yeah, a little grainy beer.
Careful.
What do you got?
Yeah. I have some water today.
Okay.
Yeah, you enjoy your grainy beer, though.
Is that 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen?
Somewhere around there.
Okay, good. If
I'll
it's
let
2
you know
parts
tomorrow.
Oxygen, it's hydrogen peroxide. You got to be careful. Just put that on your wounds. Do you ever do that? You ever put hydrogen peroxide on your wounds growing up?
You know what? I think twice my mom did, but
Ulysses never do.
I blacked out, man. I don't even know.
Every time I had to scrape, my mom was like pouring that shit on me. It's like bubbling, right? Screaming. I'm like, give me some Bactine.
I sat on the couch a lot, so unless the remote
not a lot of scrapes or bruises.
no.
Stub my thumb. It's not even like your toe. It's like my thumb.
My thumb got stubbed.
Well, crack them if you got them. Smoke them if you got them, Suns fans. Let's talk about this win over the Warriors, baby. Let's go. Buck 30, the Phoenix Suns dropped on the Golden State Warriors. Had two 36-point quarters in the first half, ultimately win the game by a final score of 130 to 119, which, as always, brings me to my first question.
Matthew, I got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask, what did we learn in this game?
We learned that the Warriors still can't win on the road. There's one thing. They cannot win on the road this season. Jordan Poole is gone. So looking at the Warriors, first I look at the opposing team. He's not there. He's not existent. Obviously, he's like a ghost out there just floating around. You don't notice Draymond at all, defensively or anything. The Warriors side, Steph is just, playing with a lot of bums. Suns side, you got to get the win. You're the better team on paper. You don't have Chris Paul or Cameron Johnson, but they come in there and they shoot lights out from three. When you're shooting that good from three and you're actually getting to the free throw line, you should win the game, and they did, and they totally blew them out. So I don't really take anything from this game. I don't. I think it's just it's a win after you've been on a kind of a skid from the last three road games, 1 and 2, or I'm sorry, 1 and 2 on the 3-game road skid.
1 and 3 on the 4-game road trip.
Well, oh, really? 1 and 3. My bad. I must have missed the game. Must have blacked out from hurting myself.
It was that Heat game. It was that Heat game.
You
stubbed both of your thumbs.
My thumb, dude.
Yeah.
But I just think that this was a must win in a way, just as must as it can be early in the season for the Suns, and they did it.
I think you're 100% right. In this game, the Warriors are a team that, good, bad, or indifferent, as we discussed at the back end of our last podcast when we previewed this game, this is a team that struggles on the road. It's a team that struggles with their depth. And it's a team that struggles because their superstars are no longer superstars. They're aging stars. They're like, what is it when you come the back end of a star's life, like a supernova or something, like
a black hole
dwarf?
Right?
Yeah, well, it ultimately becomes a black hole, but I think it's like a white dwarf. And that's kind of where they're at. Draymond Green, he's punching teammates before the season. He's really focused on being like new media and things like that. And his athletic skills have been diminishing for quite some time. Couple that with the fact that Klay Thompson is a shell of who he used to be, and rightfully so. He's been through some very, very tragic and career-altering type of injuries. So you can't expect the same from him. Steph is still Steph. But the focus of the Golden State Warriors is to really focus on the youth movement that they have there. The Jordan Poole, Kuminga, Moody, these guys who they've spent some draft capital on over the past few years, and they're hoping to give them plenty of playing time in an effort to, when the playoffs come around, if they are a playing team, have an opportunity to try to make a splash that way. They're trying to move on from the 4 championships that they've won and usher in that next iteration of Warriors basketball. So you have to pick on that. You have to take advantage of that. You're a great home team now at 7-1, and you have to take advantage of that. And kudos to the Phoenix Suns for doing so, and kudos for doing so in a manner by scoring 130 points and taking advantage of a team that really does lack defensive intensity or the ability to really get stops on that side of the floor.
Yeah, they just don't have any kind of cohesion at all. Defensively, offensively, the whole thing is just kind of a disaster over there. And then I just think about, the thing is with the Warriors, we talked about last pod. I'm like, if I had to choose one team to go to the finals just based off of history, and just getting it together in time, it would be the Warriors. And I'm not saying with this roster, I just think they're going to make a move because they still have Steph. Like Steph is
they still have all the assets to do it too.
And
that's
they
the
do.
Side of
they
that.
built it up and it's perfect. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, who is the guy? So I was just thinking, like maybe
Jimmy
like
Butler.
Oh my motherfucker! How did you know?
Really?
Jimmy Butler. Yes,
Damn.
yes. Jimmy Butler, because, like Miami can only do so much, and they're not going to get anybody over there to help him out. That's a superstar elite kind of player. So it's going to have to go one way or the other.
And he's not a fan of losing.
He's not. And he is the perfect guy to play alongside Steph. I don't know who you deal. You can't deal Clay. I feel like Clay's been he's been mistreated badly. I don't think this is really fair for the fans, everyone to hate him so much. But obviously he's having a hard time out there on the court. But he's had a few games here or there that are pretty decent. Who do you trade? It would have to be like Jordan Poole, or else it would be Wiseman too. You know what I mean? I don't
would probably be a part of it.
Maybe
obviously.
Draymond. I think
the
Draymond
money
would
makes
stay.
sense. Yeah, but I don't think that they want him. He's hurting that culture.
I don't know, man. I think I'm not saying that. Of course, there's three sides of the story. Whatever.
Yeah,
you just don't know what really happened. Draymond's been part of that team for forever. You can't just trade him like that. I don't think you can. But maybe he's the guy to go.
Perhaps. And again, what the Warriors will do something. Just acknowledge that, Suns fans. This isn't the Warriors team that is going to have. Yeah, Warriors get no good in the chat says Warriors going to trade for Cat. I can see it happening. Karl-Anthony Towns will be lasting very long in that system. He will be the odd man out for sure. And the Warriors have the ability to make a move. But again, focusing on tonight, the team that's in front of you, the team that you have to play. I love the fact that the Phoenix Suns came out representing their City Edition jerseys against the Warriors City Edition jerseys, which sucked, by the way. I don't know if you noticed it. It was had this yellow kind of smoke on it. Didn't really translate very well.
Yeah, not the best one.
No, not at all. And they've had some pretty good ones in the past. I'll tip my hat to some of their jersey selections in the past. But I love on a night that is celebratory that the Phoenix Suns not only come out and play well, but multiple players step up. Multiple players step up in this game. I mean, you got to start with kind of the heart and soul of this team.
Big Dick Booker.
So overall in this game, when you take a look at the performance of Devin Booker and how he came out here, knowing that he already had that kind of kerfuffle, if you will, with Klay Thompson earlier this season, Devin Booker has 27 points, 8 of 17 shooting, 2 of 5 from beyond the arc. He was 9 of 9 from the free throw line, but he had those 9 assists. He had 3 blocks in this game. And I think that it was very vital that he went into kind of point book mode, knowing that once again, Chris Paul sat out. And this is one of those things where it's interesting because I don't know if you recall, but right after the Chris Paul injury against the Philadelphia 76ers, they moved on to the next city. I believe it was Minnesota was the next game. And prior to that, Dwayne Rankin, who's a Suns beat writer. If you don't follow him on Twitter, I highly recommend it because he'll give you everything you need to know about the Suns. It's like I look at Dwayne's Twitter feed all the time. And he had asked him a question. He's like, so you good, Chris? You good? And he's like, yeah, it's no big deal. And here he is, the 4th game out. And knowing that he's out, knowing that you have the Warriors coming to town, a guard-centric team, and having Devin Booker step up once again on national TV, which, by the way, I don't think I watched one moment of the ESPN broadcast. I don't know about you. But
first half.
Yeah. I
felt
typically
sad and I missed DJ. I didn't know what I was doing, dude.
Yeah.
Dark place.
Come on, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. But what'd you see from Devin Booker tonight? Or is it just more of the same? I mean, the guy's a G, man. The guy's a G.
Well, I mean, what happened last game? It was the 4 free throw attempts, right? He eclipsed that with 5 in the first quarter. So obviously he wanted to get to the rim. And here, the whole free throw thing is kind of weird to me because I think, honestly, the way it went down last game, the Suns were not aggressive, not drawing contact at all. They did tonight, and it was really noticeable. That's always one thing I watch. I'm like, are they actually trying to draw contact or going through the player to get the foul? Last game, no. But right away, Book was doing that. Even on jump shots, he was holding the shot to make sure he can get the and one if it's there. So that was one thing that was impressive. And I feel like he didn't get too caught up with him and Klay Thompson. Klay, he had a shot over Klay earlier in the game, and it was nice. And you can kind of see Klay kind of be like, fuck. You know what I mean? I'm like, please don't let this hurt Book. Don't make it 1 versus 1. You don't want that in this game. And it wasn't because Book kept sharing the ball. Like you said, the 9 assists was huge.
Huge.
First quarter Book was there, man. I think the 5 for 5 from the free throw line to start the game was really big. But he worked hard for his points. Like you said, the 3 blocks, not giving up on Steph defensively to actually get those blocks, not foul him. That's very difficult. And a lot of guys,
that was a great block too. That was
a couple of them, right?
Yeah.
He had a couple of them if Steph wasn't traveling. But the biggest thing for me is just Book's maturity, man. I want him to get the 30 points, the 35 points, raise that point total. Because right now you have SGA out there playing insane, who's going to probably take a spot in the All-Star game
42
just because of
again
stats.
tonight.
Yeah, just because of stats. But Book knows what's good for the team. He knows what to do. And I like that he can still play even when Damian Lee and Washington Jr. are out there. Like, they actually spread the ball around even when Book's out there. Like, they take turns, they move the ball around the perimeter, find the best shot. They're not settling for anything bad. Booker really took his time tonight, man. He didn't rush a whole lot, and it all came to him kind of not easy, but towards the end, it kind of was easier because he worked so hard to get those shots in the beginning.
Yeah, you hit on a couple things that I noticed as well. The first thing is the way that they were trying to create contact, and Devin Booker led the charge with that. He was actually 7 of 7 from the free throw line in the first quarter. I mean, he lived at that free throw line because it's all good, though. I mean, that's what he was doing. He was creating the contact. And what was great about the Suns this game is they didn't really live in the mid-range, right? Because that's the challenge that the Phoenix Suns have, like in the game against the Miami Heat, is they'll shoot the threes, and if the threes aren't going in, rather than adjusting and attacking the cylinder, they're shooting those mid-range shots, which aren't drawing any contact. In this game, not only were they shooting from beyond the arc, and shoot from beyond the arc, they certainly did. I'll tell you that. You look at how it ended up. They made 21 threes. They were 21 of 40 in this game, 52% from beyond the arc. I haven't looked up the stats this year, but I bet you 21 is probably the highest point total that they've made. And you have to do that when you play the Warriors, because the Warriors were 18 of 42. It's a team. I mean, so at the end of the day, the Suns were only +9 from beyond the arc, and they made 21. But they were shooting the three, and they were attacking the cylinder. They were getting to the line. 25 total free throw attempts. 21 of those were made. To the Warriors, 17 of 17. And it's funny because those early free throw misses were really driving me insane. Like, we finally get to the fucking line, and now we're missing the free throws. Like, Payne, like, he really shorted one. I was like, whoa, come on, man. And then I think Dwayne Washington Jr. had, like, he went 0 for 2 from
Yep.
Yeah, somebody got everybody in the arena got like a free cheeseburger or something for that. It's only when the opposition happens. But at the same time, I appreciated the fact that they did that, and it started off with Devin Booker. He led the way there. And the second thing that you brought up, which I think is interesting, is the SGA All-Star conversation, right? Because it's something they're monitoring. That kid is going fucking crazy. And I was going to bring it up at the back end of the podcast, but we might as well do it right now.
Let's do it.
SGA is somebody who obviously we would love to have as a member of the Phoenix Suns. He's played his way out of any possibility of coming to the Phoenix Suns. If you're Sam Presti and you have SGA on your team, you go, okay, I still got a ton of assets. I got Poku, right? I got Chet Holmgren, who's injured.
Yeah.
I've got, Lou Dort. I got these assets. But SGA is your Devin Booker. He's the guy you're building around now because he's going out and doing that. The difference between this season and seasons in the past is Devin Booker is now a legacy guy, in my opinion. That's one of those things we always had a hard time with. Devin Booker was putting up these great stats and not getting on those all-star teams or having to get in because Damian Lillard got injured. 2 times Devin Booker is an all-star simply because he wasn't selected by the fan vote or was voted on by the coaches. He got in due to injury. Only the last time was he truly voted on. But now he's kind of got that legacy thing. Now it's kind of like, yeah, but Devin Booker, he's fucking good and he plays on a great fucking team. He's going to be in it regardless of the stats. And SGA is going to be that guy who's going to have to get in there most likely with the coach's selection versus the fan vote because it's OKC. You're not going to get a ton of votes coming out of OKC. That being said, Devin Booker won't probably be a starter because no one fucking likes him.
Well, what do you mean? Like, nobody likes him though? Who doesn't like him? Like players?
Every other fan base. Who the people who are voting, the people who vote him in, they don't like him. They jerk off to Steph Curry taking threes every night. Yeah.
Well, speaking of jerking off, Dave Portnoy, I think from Barstool Sports, was talking to who was it? Patrick Beverley, and I guess he was asking Dave, who do you like to watch? And he said Booker, and Beverly's like all pissed off, like, oh, serious?
Way to go, Portnoy.
So a lot of people I just think it's just the sexiness, of course, but that's what SGA has, man. The step back 3 he has tonight, he can just get off any kind of shot he wants, really. And so does Book, but there's just a different kind of look to their games. Like SGA is just he's a playmaker too. So I think it's going to be close. I think it'll kind of fall off. I think SGA's had these starts before he gets injured. Supposedly he gets injured, then he's out. So I'm interested to see how far this goes with SGA, because if he's playing this way, not 40 points every night, but if it's something that, 30 points, 29 points a game and the 9 assists, you can't trade him. I don't think that's impossible. If I was an OKC fan, like, he still fits a timeline, dude. He's still fucking young. And where are we going to get another player like this, man? You never know what's going to come along. Giddey's fine, but sorry, we're talking about OKC, but I didn't mean to go on the tangent. But I just think that what it's going to look like at the All-Star game, Booker's going to have an opportunity to really solidify himself here with Chris Paul taking a lot of breaks and stuff. It didn't look too good the last 3 or 4 games, but this game was a lot better. This showed that, you know what, the Suns can play with just Booker at the helm, and he needed to show that, because if that was going to go 2 or 3 more games, it's like, okay, so we're not going to win these games if we have Book, so he's that reliant on like for Chris Paul to be on the court. That's what everyone's going to see. So I don't think that's not going to happen anymore.
100%.
Booker just needs to step over every game and be the man. He needs to be the Steph Curry, the LeBron James of the Suns, just be the leader.
Well, and it's like the Aussie Suns fans pod says in the chat, and shout out to our Aussie friends, Gavin, I assume that's you behind this. Check them out when you get a chance. He says, something I've been thinking about more and more, and tonight provided more fuel to the fire. The NBA's position is now. Point Book is our future. Yeah, we're going to see more and more of that, and it's going to be on Monty Williams on how to effectively integrate that into the offense. And a big part of the way that he's going to have the ability to do so is by deploying the services of one Cameron Payne.
Here comes the Payne!
He had me a little bit worried tonight. Right, had me a little bit worried because he had those 2 fouls kind of right off the bat. And I was like, oh, shit, like we need you out there, campaign. But he ends with a Suns high 29 points, 9 of 17 from the field, but 6 of 10 from beyond the arc, Matthew. He had 7 assists, only 2 turnovers. Did have the 5 personal fouls. But Cameron Payne, when he can play like this, knowing that Point Book is effective, and again, the way that Booker can navigate those double teams is highly beneficial to this team. And I love that they're doing this. Every team's trying to do this to Booker because all it's making is the Suns better and better, unless you get the ball to DA's hands. Then it stops. But everybody else is getting better, and Cameron Payne's benefiting from that as well.
Yeah, he definitely. I'm like looking at my notes. I'm like, where is my Cameron Payne notes? I don't have any Payne notes at all. I think it's because it was just 3 after 3. 3 after 3 after 3 after 3s. He was helping DA. You know, DA loves it when these guys are out there making threes. He's like, oh, yeah. You always see him just cheering them on. Like, yeah, there you go. Like, I don't have to work for the board and stuff. Never mind. Anyways, Cameron Payne, seriously, right now, he is just stepping up big. And I love him sitting on the bench right now, just with Chris Paul right next to him.
Oh, I know.
Chris Paul, every time they cut to him, 3
time.
Different times. Talk. Like, oh my, like you have much to say?
Did you see him after he got his second foul? They let him play for like 2 more plays. And then he went and sat down. And the first thing you see is Chris Paul give him well, what the fuck was that, man? Kind of like he put his hands up and you could almost see him say, you know, he's just like, come on, man. Like, what the fuck are you doing getting out
and
there?
then he hit his head too. Yeah. And like Chris Paul's the first one.
He's like, you
right,
good, man?
Dude?
You good?
Yeah. And it just it's OKC again. Like when he played with OKC, like no one thought anything of him. And now like he's playing under Chris Paul and just has all that. That just helps so much. And like, of course, 7 for 9 from 3 is insane. That's probably not going to happen again for a while, but he is so deadly from 3, especially Tory Craig. And it just helps where they're moving the ball around. And the thing is with Cameron Payne, though, like he didn't really move the ball around tonight. He just got not lucky on the 3s, but he just hit his 3s, dude.
Well, I mean, 6 of 10 from beyond the arc.
6 of 10. I'm off on the numbers.
Yeah,
I'm usually a numbers guy.
Yeah, you're normally the guy who's got the notes in front of you, but you don't even have any campaign notes. 6 of 10, but he had the 7 assists, and I think that's what I like to see. And what made the Phoenix Suns successful tonight, and we're going to continue to kind of go down the box score and talk about it, but I want to talk about the assist totals. You had 9 from Book. You had 7 from Cameron Payne. You had 9 from Mikal Bridges. You know, I mean, the Suns were doing a really good job of playing team basketball tonight. And it kind of feels like in spurts over that road trip, the Suns would go into a lot of isolation ball. And they like we said, they'd shoot 3s. There'd be one and done possessions because they weren't rebounding effectively. They weren't moving the ball around. They weren't getting the assist totals that we're used to seeing from this team. You know, but you take a look at tonight, they made a total of 44 field goals, and they had 33 assists on those field goals. You know, I mean, that's what 75% field goal or field goal to assist ratio. That's where you want to live. That's Phoenix Suns basketball. That's winning basketball. It's when you go back and you look against like the Heat in the fourth quarter where the ball stops moving and they're just trying to survive the clock. Essentially, that was the key in this game because the Warriors were always. I mean, if you think about it, the Warriors were always there, but I mean they didn't. The closest they got was like within 3. But even in the last 5 minutes of the game, the Suns just kept moving. and they didn't get stagnant. They weren't so, okay, we just need to dribble out. You know, it's like when you're watching a football game and your team's up 10 points with 5 minutes left to play, and they're just running the shit out of the ball. And what got them up to that 10-point advantage over the opposition was the way that they were, play action pass. They're hitting the mesh route over the middle. They're doing the corner route, and they're finding the receiver. And that's like handoff when the other team knows they're going to hand off, punt, and then prevent defense, and it prevents you from winning. And that's what the Suns did in a couple of those games where they blew those leads on the road trip. Whereas tonight, they just kept the pedal to the metal. And a big part of that is campaign.
Yeah, it is. And they were so lucky and fortunate, really, that, Steph Curry didn't really go off for 100, because I feel like he just needed to get 100 tonight for them to win. But there were times in the third quarter, like, where there were just some mishaps on offense, like even fast breaks. Like Mikal had some airheaded plays, DA a few times, and then like Book some errant passes. So like there was things that were going on, but then they pulled themselves back together and they made sure it didn't get so crazy and just start to unwind. And then, I mean, if that were to happen and Steph goes off the way he did tonight, then it's a closer game, because the Suns are just, they're in their own heads. Because I think when they get up on teams, they might pull back a little bit, but it wasn't that. Start the third and to start the fourth quarter, they came out with a lot of energy, with Book, without Book, the bench. Yeah. It was energy. And sometimes they turned the ball over, but then they just came right back and made the correct play the next game, or the next play.
Yeah, the next series. I think that's, again,
next World Series.
The next World Series. It's smart basketball. And it's team basketball. I will say that the headline on ESPN, Curry's 11th career 50-point game isn't enough for the Warriors. Typical, like, no mention of the Suns.
What's that on ESPN.com?
Yeah, ESPN.com. That's the headline.
Who goes to the ESPN? Does anybody on here, Jamsters, do you guys go to ESPN.com still? Like, that's just weird, right?
I go there for box scores every now and then.
Yeah, for box scores. But like, I never just go there like to look up what happened. I usually go like to NBA or
I go to like Twitter,
Bleacher Report.
Twitter,
Twitter,
like a normal person. That's just what I do.
What's up?
I'm really starting to fall in love with Tory Craig a little bit, man. I'm starting to get a man crush on Tory Craig all over again. It's like 2 years ago, but I mean, he's getting these starts without Cameron Johnson. He's being really productive in them. And it's the way that he rebounds the ball, right? It's those aggressive rebounds that we used to see from him 2 years ago when he first was acquired from the Indiana Pacers. But you look at Tory Craig tonight, he had 13 points. He had 10 rebounds. He was 5 of 8 from the field, including 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. A couple assists, only 1 foul, a couple steals, a block. I mean, he was doing all those little things that you need him as a power forward to do. And he was in the right spots. And it's like, there'd be a play where it's like, the Golden State Warriors would shoot it, and then like DA would kind of fumble it, and they get it back and they shoot again. And Tory Craig would just come and just like, "That's my ball, bitch." It's like, it's like, let's go TC, man. Let's go juice. The juice is loose, baby.
Yeah, he just rips it away, dude. The picture they took, with the jerseys, with everybody in the big crowd, where I don't know. Whatever it was, sorry, I can't really explain it for some reason, but the picture they took that they were handing out tonight, about 500 copies, you see Craig in the back, dude, his shoulders, I know we talk about Wainwright, but his shoulders, his upper body is massive. Like he has the biggest upper body out of anybody, bigger than Pamela Anderson, dude. Like this guy goes in there, like he says, rips the ball away, but he is built for rebounding, dude. I just think that what he does, especially the 3-point line, someone even said in the subreddit, like, "You're leaving this guy still open from 3." It's like, did we ever think we were going to hear that? We'll talk about that later. But
oh, sweet.
I mean, dude, like there's 2 plays in I think it was the second quarter, where he had, towards the end of the second quarter to close out, the Suns, the double teams were coming. It was either on Ayton or Booker. But then Craig made himself available, cutting to the basket, getting some easy layups. Like he just, like you said, knows where to be. But then when he's doing that stuff, he's cutting like Mikal Bridges, and he's so automatic around the rim. It seems like it's just extra. That's just extra stuff.
Yeah, it's extra, 100%. And you appreciate every little possession he gives you, every offensive rebound he gets you, every time he hits a 3. I mean, all those things, those are the daggers to the opposition, right? Like that's like us watching it. Every time Lamb hit a 3, we're like, "Fuck, are you kidding me, Lamb?" That's what the opposition does when they see Tory Craig. And I just, I had to give him a drop. I had to give him a little shout out on this pod, because I just think that, he's earned it, and he's continued to play solid, and he's playing himself into my heart. that I appreciate.
Most important part.
All right, should we talk about him?
Do it.
Watch.
DeAndre Ayton, 14 points, 7 rebounds in this game. 4 turnovers. Led the team in turnovers. On a night in which this team looked popping, the ball was moving around, DA just was driving me fucking nuts, man. And maybe it's just me. And if it's just me, I'm sorry. If it's just me, like, and I'm a clear hater, I'm an Ayton hater. Maybe I am, because I just like, there was one play where he had a high screen from Devin Booker, right? And Devin Booker came off the screen and was at the top of the key, and he started to roll towards the basket. And Devin Booker starts to pull up to take a three, and he just stops. And I'm in my head, I'm like, well, if he misses that shot, it's a one and done.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you just get? And he had a wide open lane to just run right down there just in case. And it's like, even if Devin Booker jumps up and he's still rolling hard, he could do the drop into him and it's a dunk. And you see like Jock Landale come out and hustle and sprint and get himself open and make himself available. And you see it when the Warriors are running out this extremely small lineup where you know that they're going to try to do everything they can to just get out and run. Their goal is to be the 7 seconds or less Suns and run you off the court. And you got you got DeAndre Ayton down there, and he's got Steph Curry on him, and he's got him 6 feet away from the basket. And he does like a jump hook away. It's like, motherfucker, go down and go through that guy. He's in the restricted area. Go through him. And it was just frustrating tonight on a night where I was happy the entire time. Watching this team play, watching Jock Landale play, watching Damian Lee play, watching Josh Okogie, who we'll talk about momentarily, and some of his fucking amazing defense on Jordan Poole. There's DA just kind of there, just sucking up $30 million a year. Max player, let's go.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually thought it was a decent game, and a lot of people you'll show them right now. A lot of comments out there about about DA just not having a good effort. It's never there. I think what I found out last game is just like, this is just basically this is his game now. I mean, the points, the stats, I'm not even going to worry about that anymore. I don't care anymore. But, on the court tonight towards the end of the game, I guess this is what I heard, that Draymond was calling DA soft, right? On the court.
Really?
Was that going on? Yeah, I heard that from the broadcasters.
Okay.
And if that's happening and it's Draymond, and I'm DA, I would just elbow the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Give him one big motherfucking elbow to the eye. Just make your name known, dude.
Did you see that play where Draymond Green was called for a foul and he instantly snapped at the official, didn't get teed up, and then like they kind of cut to the play starting, and the first thing he does is he just pushes DA, and DA just kind of takes the push, and he eventually gets teed up going back, but it's like he's like, yeah, okay, like again, there's just like he doesn't have that gene. If somebody was on the court bullying me, I would use that as fuel to the fire. And don't get me wrong, like you look at what DeAndre Ayton did in the first quarter. He came out and he was aggro DA. He was 4 of 6, had 8 points in the first quarter, 3 rebounds. So he had 8 and 3 in the first, right?
He's always like that, though.
He had 6 and 4 the rest of the fucking game in plus matchups. That's what drives me crazy. It's like you have these plus matchup opportunities, and you could really be the guy who just like this team can rely on just for points, man. You should be scoring 26 points a night against these little motherfuckers, and you're just kind of like ball watching. The Jamsters are saying it. The Jamsters are saying it. It's like he's watching the ball. He's playing lazy. He's just kind of. It's frustrating, man.
Yeah, and it's like he has that hook shot and. We're always really happy. The bench is really happy when it goes, and we're like, yeah, there you go. But then, like, that's it, and it's automatic most of the time. But then he starts to hit out the back. It's just like that's all he has, and I kind of feel bad because we are so hard on him sometimes because he is just a kid. Like what I mean? That goes
I know you have you always have that human element, like you have the empathy for the human element.
But I'm very hard on him all the time just because it's like we know what he can do, but. I just think if he was in that situation towards the end of the game, like, man, give him an elbow, get suspended for a game. Like, but it's just never going to happen.
Flagrant, dude. You're up 12. Get a flagrant on Draymond Green for calling you soft and elbowing you into your kidneys the whole time. Like, that would annoy the shit out of me. I just do one of those. Where you're just going to throw an elbow behind you and like, oops, sorry. Like, get pissed. But he's just out there just like, hey, man, like.
Yeah, and if he was down there too defensively, yell at Mikal too for help. And I don't know if I'm really bad at watching defense, but his help on defense, like he just knows what's going to happen behind him. So he'll go towards a dude that's, there might be 3 guys heading towards the lane at him and he has help from 1 guy or so. but he'll head towards a dude and he knows what's going to happen and just kind of lets it happen. Like, I'm not saying he has to be automatic, but his switching on defense in the lane, it's never there. Like, he just knows, like, all right, this guy's going to make a layup. I'm not even going to try to defend it.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just not that quick, but I remember when DA used to be like always switching.
Intense.
Yeah, when he wants to, like he's
playoff
all over everybody.
DA.
Bill Simmons was talking about Mobley from the Cavs and how he switches his defense. And I was trying to watch him tonight and how he can just go from guy to guy. He's longer than DA.
Yeah.
But I just think that DA's intentions really, when that happens, and this is just me watching him play, body language, all that, it's just like he knows. He's like, oh, fuck. He knows what they're going to score. He's like, oh, fuck, I missed that. What am I supposed to do? Like, it's always that. It's always just like such a fucking dramatic story with him on the court.
Hands up.
Yeah.
He like puts his
I
hands
didn't even think
up.
I was going to do this tonight. Like,
well, it's just
because it was a decent game. I thought we were just going to kind of just forget the fuck.
Yeah, I was getting frustrated watching because again, I'm always keyed in on DA, and David Ray says it in the chat. And again, anyone who's watching along live, we appreciate you hanging out with us after. Go ahead, hit a thumbs up if you're on YouTube, and again, if you're listening to this later, please subscribe, rate, and review. But David Ray says DA is hardly the only player in the NBA that has bad games once in a while. I still like him a lot, and that's my challenge too. Like, I love DA. I want him to be great. And I love who he is, and I love he's the first and only number one pick in the history of this team. I love that the Phoenix Suns have managed to keep him because he is an unbelievably flexible player. Okay, you get a lot of stiffs at the 5, right? Like, would I rather have Kevon Looney? Like, GTFO, man. 100 times out of 100, I would take DeAndre Ayton. But with my affection for him as a player comes expectation. And he consistently misses on those expectations. 14-7 from a max center. Like, you say those words and it's just like, yeah, that's unfortunate because that's not what his potential is. And that's what always, seriously, all this podcast has become is like DA therapy. Like, we spend like 10 minutes every time we do this having some DA therapy. Like, we're going to get through this, man. Like, we're going to get through this until he's traded, right?
Yeah. And the one thing is always like, I don't want DA to go somewhere else and like, thrive
and dominate. He'll be a spur and he'll kick the shit out of everybody.
We have to get over that because that's the worst thing in a relationship is to think like, oh, someone's going to leave you and then they're going to go out and be like a better person, but it's just not working. Like, there's something on the court where he just does not make sense. Offensively, he just does not make sense. I've never seen this in a player where it's like so cheered on. Like, every little shot he makes, it's like so insecure, kind of like he's like, oh, like there was one fadeaway shot he took from the baseline and he was like, oh, like I missed it, like oops, like, and then I don't know, it's just weird and dramatic.
You know what's the funniest moment of tonight was, in all honesty? 0.6 seconds left on the clock. The Phoenix Suns run a great play to DA in the lane, and rather than just laying it up like he normally does, so it like goes in time, that's when he jams it. Yeah. And because he dunked it, it was a shot clock violation. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? The self-awareness of this guy.
I don't know. Something's going to happen. I just hope. The only thing is, like, when I think about this stuff, I just don't want the Warriors to make a big move before the Suns do. The Suns have to make the big move this trade deadline, dude. Right?
They better. I mean, the rumors are getting. I don't know if you saw what Jay Crowder put on his Instagram today, like the clock. So it's like
the old dusty fart.
A move is coming. A move is coming. I hope.
Cool.
The Warden. Shout out to the Warden tonight. 23 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds. A very Sean Marion-esque kind of stat line if he had like 18 more rebounds. He was 5 of 8 from beyond the arc. I'll tell you this. I've been betting on Mikal Bridges relative to threes for the last like 4 games. And finally tonight, I was super busy. We had a grand opening at one of our properties. I got home right at 8 just in time to catch the game. I didn't have time to put any bets in. And go figure, he goes and he hits 5 threes. But a great performance, as I mentioned, taking advantage of team basketball. When this team is popping, when this team is playing team basketball, when they're moving the ball around, when they're, just like I said in the last podcast, when they're not standing around stationary, when Mikal is not standing around stationary and he's hitting his back cuts and he's trying to make them pay and he's getting to those corner threes, that's when this team looks successful. And that's what he did tonight, Matthew. He's getting to the corner 3. He was hitting it. He was moving around offense, defense. The only negative thing I got to say about Mikal Bridges is something that goes for the majority of this league. And, dude, he cannot guard Steph Curry.
Oh, no. And I think at times, I think, like, even though he wasn't covering the whole time, I think mentally inside, like, he just had some issues to work out throughout the game. You can just see it on his face, just like, fuck, this guy's, you can't do anything. But I think he just takes it too personal, right? I think when you go into a game like this playing against Steph, you're just got to expect, like, all right, he's at least going to get 30. He's going to hit
get 50.
3 or 4 ridiculous shots from outside. He's going to do these and ones where he's traveling. Like, he's just going to make everything. And Bridges needs to not be so hard on himself. Focus offensively. I would like to see a little bit more cutting. I think Juice helped him out with that. The only thing is Bridges was standing in the court too much. I think he needed to help DA in a way to cut to the basket at times. But other than that, I really think that him getting his own head kind of led to like some bad decisions on some fast breaks. Other than that, though, man, like he played great. It's a sneaky game for him. I didn't notice it too much. I think it's because of the threes. I think when the threes start to go down, I look at the box score. I'm like, oh yeah, they count as more.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have more points.
And he made 5 of them, man. He made 5.
Exactly. So I was like, oh shit, sneaky game, like Cameron Payne.
Yeah, 100%, because they're both hitting threes all over the place. And again, that's what you needed to win this game, because you know the Warriors, they're going to continue to come at you. You take a look at their lineup: 50 from Steph. You had 19 from Clay on 6 of 17 shooting. You had 14 from Andrew Wiggins. You had 10 from Kevon Looney, 9 from Draymond Green. The bench is really where they hurt. You know, Jordan Poole's only 2 points came from the free throw line. He was 0 of 5. Fuck him. I can't stand Jordan Poole, by the way. He has
no life in him, dude. Did you see him sitting on the sideline just like fucking
here, this is fun. I get to do a Jordan Poole rant. One thing I can't stand about Jordan Poole is he plays no defense. And if I was rooting for him, that would drive me crazy. The other thing I can't stand about him is he always is trying to draw the offensive foul. He's always kicking his legs out. There was that one play where he was going down the court, and then he just jutted left right into a player, and then the foul was on, I think it was Cameron Payne. And he does he does the bullshit foul stuff that has always driven me crazy. And I know that you and I have had this conversation numerous times on this podcast when we talk about like the James Hardens and Luka Doncic's of the world. And it happens a lot less because the NBA, for the most part, has done a decent job policing people who are trying to create contact, and then the foul is on the opposition. It's like, I can't run into you, and then the foul's on you, right? He's one of those players who does those kind of things. But that one corner 3 that he had where he shot it, he literally just like kicked his legs out sideways trying to get something in contact and then completely missed it. That's where I'm sitting on my couch. I'm just like, yeah, you dumb fuck.
Yeah, Kiko wants to know too, is he added to the punchable face? I don't know. There'll be some voting going on soon for that. He might win the next.
Well, I will say that Matthew and we are putting out the punchable face on Twitter and on our YouTube shorts for you guys to vote on. He's definitely has a punchable face. Just ask Draymond Green.
He has no chin.
Jordan Poole has no chin. Yeah, he folds like a fucking cardboard box when he gets punched in the face. But he's got that like smirky, I think I'm hot shit kind of smirk on his face that you could probably describe Devin Booker having. People might
Booker doesn't have Booker.
That. Devin
Booker has the rosy cheeks. You can't get away with too much.
But Devin Booker looks like he's an asshole. He looks like he's oh God, that's why the referees have always hated him. It's because he doesn't have Draymond Green, like he'll yell at motherfuckers, but he does it in kind of like this aggressive but welcoming, almost like engaging kind of like, hey, come on, man, that's bullshit. Whereas like Devin Booker's like, fuck you, dude. Like he goes right to your soul, and he's got those eyes that just. And Jordan Poole has like the rich kid kind of look on his face, where he's like, he's the kid who you'll be out there playing basketball with. And he's got, you're out there in your Payless tennies, and he's got like the new parents off in the and then like he wants every foul because everything's always gone his way. That's Jordan Poole, in my opinion.
See, I don't say Book's Los Suns Book is an ass. I don't know.
He is
I just never got that from him. That's why I always liked him so much, because I feel like he was just always on his face. His eyes, I don't notice his eyes too much. I don't know why. It's just his rosy cheeks, and then he has just this demeanor of like, I'm humble, but I'm gonna do your girl, but that's it. that's all.
But you gotta look at this. Like everybody is either like a dick, an asshole, a bitch, or a pussy, right?
You gotta
like
be.
Those you're one of those 4. Just everybody is.
Oh, everybody. But you got to be an asshole to be in the NBA. Dude, it's insane.
But like Draymond Green's like a dick, right? He's not an asshole. He's a dick.
Over time, he's definitely, improved to 1.
DeAndre Ayton's a pussy.
Oh, man,
Devin Booker's an asshole.
No,
Chris
poor
Paul's a dick. Like everybody kind of falls. Yeah. Arthur Bennis, he says that's from Team America. Pretty darn close.
I don't remember that part. Was it?
Oh, he's like, it's the big speech. He's like,
yeah.
He's like, dicks fuck assholes, but they also fuck pussies.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Team America.
Jesus, this is a nice limo.
Yes, it is. Now suck my
Jock Landale.
That is perfect transitioning right there. God, you can't write that shit. 3 of 5 for Jock Landale in 16 minutes, 29 seconds played, 7 points, had 4 rebounds. But most importantly, he brought the fire to this team that was needed during that stretch in which the Golden State Warriors were trying to scrunch it close. Then, that end of the third, beginning of the fourth. And I thought that Jock Landale did a great job in the second half. And I think Josh Okogie did a great job in the first half. Josh Okogie is one of the few Phoenix Suns who we do not have a drop for. So if any of the Jamsters have any idea, go ahead. Go to our Twitter page @SunsJam and DM us. Let us know what you think would be a good drop for Josh Okogie. Because as Charles says in the chat, as dumbass bitch said in the chat, man, I clicked the wrong ones. I saved the wrong ones. Somebody earlier in the chat said, man, Josh Okogie is great on offense, but man, that defense, or the other way around.
I was going to say it's the other way around.
That offense. When he shoots a 3, dude. The one thing I got to say, between Josh Okogie and Jock Landale, the way that they both contributed in this game, fantastic contributions. Both of you never shoot a 3 again.
Never. I mean, when Jock throws it up, he's 7% right now or something crazy.
I know it's so stupid.
We have to storm something. Storm someone's house or something. Just to no more threes. No more threes. Just to make a point. He only had one tonight. I think when he clunked, he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna fucking do that again." Good.
Yeah,
stay in the middle, man.
And then Josh Okogie, I'm like, no. But Josh Okogie played great defense on Jordan Poole.
He does. He's so aggressive though. He's so aggressive. He's going to draw the fouls or get fouls. And yeah, it's fine. It's just he's so insanely on top of guys. He's swimming around them like he's in water. It's really weird. All of a sudden the guy will stop. He's just swarming around him.
Yeah. It's how do you slip a screen? Yeah, you go Matrix style. You take the blue pill.
Yeah. You turn into a thin piece of paper. It seems like he just does weird things out there.
Well, and he's the guy, and I like to see them utilize him, and I like to see them utilize him a little bit more for 5 minutes stints against certain players. And I think it was very astute of Monty to deploy him. And it's one thing, everyone was bashing Monty last game. I don't think you bash him after this game because he didn't.
That's crazy.
I know, but
it's just like bashing James Jones. It's fucking nuts.
It's dude, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. And again, I think that, taking Josh Okogie and putting him out there on Jordan Poole, it annoyed the shit out of Jordan Poole. It was, and again, he had 0 made field goals. His only field goals came from, or his only points came from the free throw line. And that's what you got to do with this team. And I think that was a very, again, astute way to manage the roster for Monty Williams in this game.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Ready?
Matthew was hanging out tonight in one of the worst wastelands the internet has. That is the subreddit for the Golden State Warriors, Jamsters.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
So it appears that Matthew was wearing an NFL beanie while he was there, which probably threw them off. They didn't think that you were a Suns fan because it looked like you had a sock on your head. So you got to tell me what happened on the Warriors subreddit, man. This has got to be gold because they are. Was there a bunch of people just holding up 4 fingers, reminding everybody that they had fucking 4 championships?
Yeah, there's people. They had pictures of their 4 fingers. Some guy chopped off his fingers and just sent them in the mail.
Wow.
To me. Yeah.
Wow.
It's fucking crazy. And he only sent 3, so I don't know what the other one went.
What's the other one? He sent it to a Clippers fan. You've never won a championship either.
Oh man. So this is a weird one, dude. So I never want to hear the phrase Booker is better than Curry ever again. Curry is the best player in the league right now. Absolutely. Curry's the best offensive player to ever play the game. Whoever says though that Booker is better than Curry?
That Devin Booker is better than Steph Curry?
No one, right?
Probably Suns Facebook. Maybe they were on a Suns Facebook page. Yeah.
Because I've never heard that before in my life.
Me neither.
And I've been around for a while, dude. So,
I
anyways,
will say, Charles in the chat says, I was doing the subreddit stakeout, and man, Warrior fans hate campaign. LOL. So look at that. Even our jamsters are starting to go into the subreddit just to observe, which is
just a
fantastic.
downvote, right? You
Just
the
hit the
downvote.
downvotes while you're there. That's what I do. I downvote anything, like, because I go through and I look for Suns content, and they'll be like, Devin Booker's a bitch. We're like, downvote. Doesn't show you who
he
did
was
it.
a bitch, though.
What's that?
You just said he was.
No, he's an asshole.
Oh, okay. Different.
Yeah, if they said Devin Booker's an asshole, I'd be like, upvote.
That's totally different. What am I talking about?
Totally different.
All right, I'll go back to school.
All right.
So only way Phoenix bums can score score at this point is to score at the free throw line. Fucking bullshit. Which is, noted before. It's like, now we're talking about they only get to the free throw line? Crazy, right?
Oh, yeah. The team that's attempted the fewest amount of free throws in the league and got 4 last game. The only way we can score some of the free throw line. Do your research, you pones.
You dingbat. And honestly, like, it's weird that we had to call the NBA to be like, hey, can we get some free throws? Like, that just doesn't. Just ref the game, dude.
Real quick. Shout out to Fabio in the chat. He goes, to be fair, Booker could score 70 in a loss. Curry can only get 50.
True.
So maybe he is better than Steph Curry.
Never forget that day. What a day.
What a day.
We need KD back, boys.
Oh, wow.
Yep, there it is. Again, okay. I'm sure it was in there all night long.
Oh, God, yeah.
KD chat. Okay, so Steph Curry playing on easy while everyone else is on hard mode. That's what it feels like, right? Like, Steph is he's insane. Like, this is going to last for forever.
He'll be going down the paint, and it's like, you've played 2K. I'm sure many of you, the listeners, have as well. Mm-hmm. Like, when you just accidentally hit the shoot button and just like, and just throws the ball up and you completely brick it because you don't get in like the green zone. That's what he does in real life, and it goes in every time. Like, he is next to level elite. It's unbelievable what he's doing carrying this team to a 6-9 record. But I mean, mad props to him. I can't stand Steph Curry. The way, like, kind of, he's just he's like a child. But
when he walks around, doesn't it look like he's always standing at a urinal? Like, he's always just like hunched over, like really fucking weird. He's almost as fake as LeBron walking around. Like, he has the whole cameras are on me kind of thing. It's just always just nonsense.
So Steph Curry is a bitch.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, kind
he's
of.
not an asshole for sure.
No, and he's not a dick, and he's not a pussy. He's a bitch.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
All right.
Careful now. I just want him to shake it off. Like he's always got to, like, just finish shaking, sir. When you're at the urinal, carry on.
Yeah, I was like, wait, are we talking about the urinal? Okay, so. All right, fuck this, man. Leaving Cam and Craig open every single fucking time. What the fuck can this team try on defense? There's your Cameron Payne thing. I mean, like I said, like Cameron Payne and Craig being a nuisance from beyond the arc.
Yeah, and it was probably driving him nuts. That's fantastic.
Bridges playing well enough that he's got the right to talk trash right now.
Yeah, he did turn and hit when he hit that 3.
That's nice to know. I mean, someone noticed it more than me, how good he was playing, how many points he had.
Yeah, somebody. Well, it was like when he hit that 3, though, like he was on the bench pretty much. I'm like, careful, man. Like, they're going to trip you.
Yeah, Clay pushed off a little bit, too.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, settle down.
Oh, careful with Clay, man. He probably has a taser or something weird.
He probably
right? All right, last one. Steph wasting his time with these bums. That's how they're feeling. That's why there's going to be a big trade, and it's probably going to be Jimmy Butler.
All right, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, that there is the Suns Jam Session.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Fantastic stuff there. Fantastic stuff.
Really
it's a cesspool if you go on to Warriors subreddit, man. I mean, it's just it really is interesting to hear some of the things they say, and like, again, how they and they're fans just like we are, like they see the deficiencies in their team. They get frustrated with Clay. They get frustrated with their defense and things of that nature. So I just love that we're 2-0 against the Warriors this year, because fuck the Warriors.
Yeah, but then they beat us once and they make a trade, then they're going to be the favorites. So
yeah,
obviously great game, but it means nothing. You just have to get the win no matter what, no matter how it ended.
100%. All right, Matthew, I've been waiting all night to ask you about this. It was going to be my Matthew, whatever that segment's called. I got to ask. But you know what? I always lead off with asking about the jerseys. But tonight's the first night we saw the Pinwheel logo located right there in the center of the court. You can see it right over there next to Matthew on our podcast. Again, paying tribute to the 22 tribes of Arizona. We saw the turquoise uniforms. What was your reaction? How do you think it looked? Something different for sure.
Very nice.
Very nice.
So I liked it. The only parts I didn't like, and of course we're just gonna critique it a little bit. And Dan Duarte, don't listen. I guess he hates his stuff or whatever. But
yeah,
it's
not content for you, Dan. Just turn it off.
The only thing is the turquoise lines on the free throw line and stuff. Like,
yeah, I know
I didn't like that. That was the worst part for me. I think the turquoise on the jerseys was enough, and I'm glad it wasn't really anywhere else on the court. I think it worked really well, man. And of course, the only thing on the jersey is you wish it was a different logo.
Yes.
But everything looked good. I don't think it was a bad look at all. I think that it was a very clean look on the court. It did look like last year's a little bit. Of course, it's like the same kind of dynamic.
Yep.
But I mean, it was beautiful. I thought the whole thing kind of meshed really well. I just think the jerseys can be a little bit better. And then the court with the teal, maybe it could have been like red, because I like the red outline on the outside. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. So my brother texted me out of nowhere. He goes, "What the fuck is this? Are we the Charlotte Hornets?" And because he had no idea what's going on. And I'm like, no. And I try to explain it to him as much as I can as while I'm watching the game on Twitter, taking notes and just like tired from a long day. And I'm like, I'm just not even going to talk to him about it. But here's what I realized. When you
he's not watching, Jesus, dude.
He never is. My family doesn't support anything I do.
Oh,
yeah, that's why we have each other. When I saw the Suns logo on the bottom line, right, where the score was, they had the teal and then they had the orange with it. And I was like, fuck, what does this remind me of? And then I realized they looked a lot like the Miami Marlins with the teal and the black and a little bit of orange in there. And obviously they had the red accents. And, so it's something that it's definitely, the pinwheel logo itself has grown on me. Obviously what it stands for is absolutely awesome. So it's like, I can't knock that. I still don't know if I like it 100%, but it's definitely something that's grown on me. I do like that the sunburst logo on the middle of the chest, it appears to be a lot bigger than the Orange Friday ones, right? The Orange Fridays,
the Friday one was a little teacup,
it was like tiny.
Dude. Yeah, because I remember always seeing their breasts. Like their breasts were like it
Booker's
nips. More, dude.
Booker's nips were like on each side of it. Like now it kind of covered it a little bit.
A little bit. His nips get hard though, man.
Yeah, they do.
Can't tame those.
But I do like how it was. But again, I think everybody agrees. Like if the pinwheel logo, the PHX pinwheel was in the middle, like that would look fucking sick. Like big in the middle. Like
the hat. The hat they have, the only good one is like the teal with that logo.
Yeah,
on
and
it.
I want that. I want that.
If I had money, man, what the fuck?
Me
How
too.
do people buy shit right now?
Well, because like when
you got 2 jobs,
I guess with interest rates and inflation and tax on everything, essentially what it comes down to is we need you Jamsters to donate via the super chat or to donate to the pod or something. Hit me up at John Voida on my Venmo. Throw me some so I can go get these hats and such. But it definitely did grow on me. It definitely.
I don't like the numbers though. I think the numbers need to be bigger,
either.
And I don't like how it like separated the colors. Like it was just kind of like.
They're doing that, and there's a reason for it, and I get it. But yeah, the numbers I was not a fan of. Not a fan of those.
Yeah, didn't like it. We're always numbers guys, dude.
Everything. That's why those fucking the throwback 93s are so great, because they're huge and they're white and they pop on the screen. You can sit there and read the guy's number easily, whereas like you sit there and you're like squinting trying to see it on your 22-inch non-HD television.
Jam star of the game.
All right, Jamsters, here's a reminder. Subscribe, rate, and review. Hit the thumbs up button if you're on YouTube. Brian Herrera says, let's not talk about Booker's nipples, please. LOL. So
everyone's
don't
got
talk.
Nipples, man.
Everyone's got them.
He just has really hard nipples. He doesn't wear an undershirt.
I've got nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? I'm one of those people. You can't see it right now, but like, I have, it always looks like I got THO. It's just my life. And I got like
THO,
tiny little
too
nipples.
hot.
Titty hard on.
Titty hard-ons. Okay.
Yeah.
I've always had the puffy nipple thing, and I think ever since I stopped eating corn, like corn and like any kind of breads or gluten stuff would always make them puffy. So when I stopped doing that, they're kind of normal. They're still a little bigger than what a guy should have because you don't use your nipples. But dude, they get whenever I hit that fucking corn hard, dude, they get puff. Get really puffed, dude.
Booker
Puff
status.
daddy.
Booker
Yes.
status. Well, we'll go through looking at what some of the Jamsters are talking about. Campaign, Mikal Bridges, and Devin Booker from Crazy Luigi. Kiko gives it to my Jamstar, the starting 5. Haboob gets the Jamstar from Ted Lubin. Low Sun says, here comes the Payne Jamstar. Payne from Felix. Payne from Fabio. Got to be Payne from Thomas Danette. Jamstar, Kale, and Payne from Mario Lopez. What do you think, Matthew? Who's your Jamstar of the game?
You know what? Do you want to go first? Because I want to think between two guys. I need a moment, man.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with Campaign 100%. I think that the way that he was orchestrating the offense, pushing the pace, and again, hitting those threes. 6 from 10 from beyond the arc. That's 18 of his 29 points was from beyond the arc in a game in which we needed 3-point shooting because that's how you have to combat this team. They're going to keep shooting threes. And the way that he navigated this offense and led us to a victory, I'm all about Campaign.
Yeah, I'll go with that. And Campaign for sure, not his nipples.
Not his nipples, Mike. Good call.
I seen he was him and Deandre did that dance or whatever in the locker room.
Yeah.
So you've seen them. They're not really much.
Yeah, they're like flat nips. They're like squash pepperonis.
Times.
Aussie Suns fans pod gives it to Klay Thompson. Kevin, the NBA for potentially talking to the refs? ? Yeah, they kind of talk.
How does that even go down though?
I don't know. Like
That's
they're like, hey guys, dude, Tony Brothers did a fucking horrible job tonight. I will say that from a refereeing standpoint and officiating standpoint.
We shouldn't have humans doing any of this. Like it's impossible to ref these games. It should just be like if that's happening, someone sees it from upstairs. Oh, foul! It should be that quick.
We just need artificial intelligence to take over everything.
Yeah,
that's it.
Then we'll complain about that still.
Coach Fallen Founder, I'm sorry for Lissy's political crush lost the race because Carrie Lake lost. You think she's hot, but she likes your puffy nips.
She did, yeah. We went to Big Surf once, and like she was the first girl not to make fun of me, so that's why we got along so well.
So on that note, we have the Jazz coming up. What day of the week is it right now, Matthew?
Friday. Oh, it's Wednesday,
today
dude.
Wednesday. So yeah. Friday, we have the Jazz at Jazz. Suns will be wearing the City Edition jerseys again. I think they're wearing the next 4 games.
Dude, yeah. Speaking of jerseys, I think the Jazz court and the jerseys actually look pretty good. They're pretty simple.
They're going to be wearing their 90s throwbacks in that game.
If
you ever want to know what the Suns and their opposition is going to be wearing, go to lockervision.nba.com, and they actually have all of those matchups because I always look at that shit. For marketing reasons, because as you can see, everything in here is turquoise. So
hurry, turquoise change
it now. Shit. So we'll be coming to you live on Friday Night Jamster. So if you want to spend your Friday night with John, with Matthew, and our nipples, stop on by. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. Matthew, did we miss anything? Is there anything else you want to talk about? I think we've covered it all, but maybe I missed something.
No, I'm actually very surprised that we covered everything tonight, John. I went through my notes earlier. I'm like, how are we going to get through this pod and cover all these notes? But we did it. You did it once again. You marvelous man.
Again. Another great podcast. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out as long as you have. Again, remember to hit that thumbs up button. Remember to subscribe. And if you're interested in see this little pinwheel logo we got, I'll bring it up like this. Bing. If you want your name to be inside there, because I took their Suns logo. I do a little graphic design myself, You can ask the Aussie Suns fans. I did it for them. It's like
Twitter is confusing as hell. Everyone has the same.
The same logo. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to paint Twitter turquoise. So hit me up on Twitter if you want to donate to help me pay for my graphic design software. I always appreciate that. But just hit me up, DM me on Twitter at Darth Void. I'll go ahead and I'll make you one of these logos with your name in it. I think it's pretty cool. Until then, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. Follow the show at Suns Jam. Follow me at Darth Voida. Read my writing on Bright Side of the Sun. Follow Matthew. That's all I got.
All right, I won't go home and love your puffy nipples.
No. Only Carrie Lake can love your nipples.